That's very interesting that you said that because, I do have some knowledge of this. I just wanted to hear what you had to say on the issue. But all throughout the 1600s, the Jesuits were actually put out of all of the nations in Europe because the monarchs there realized that they were the ones responsible for fomenting these revolutions within their countries. And Ronald Reagan, interestingly, was the first one to appoint an ambassador to the Vatican for the United States of America. And we know that Pope John Paul II and Reagan worked very closely together for the bringing down of the USSR. And so, very interesting. Anyway, please proceed.
Well, I think let me switch to where we're working together, what we have achieved.
Right.
And people are going to be surprised. But first, actually, let me tell you a little bit about what goes on with the birth certificates of your children. If you look at them, their names are all in capital letters. This is because when a baby is born and gets a Social Security number, what the bankers are doing is they're estimating the amount of taxes that child is going to generate through their lifetime as a taxpayer. And they issue a bond on the capital markets in the name of that baby. And then, this sounds improbable, but again, I'm telling you, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
That's right.
So when you're married and you go before a justice of the peace, your marriage license is also in all caps. It's as if two ships had met in the night.
Maritime
You're not
law.
really married.
Maritime law.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And this huge scheme has been bilking the American citizens out of their wealth, but also out of their status as citizens with a constitution.
I just have to say this once again for everybody that's watching. This is Karen Hudes, the former senior counselor for the World Bank, 20 years in the World Bank. She's not some raving lunatic. This is a well-educated individual at the Ivy League school, Yale. I think we need to listen. Go ahead, my sister.
Well, the United States is not the only country that has been, what can I say, put in this terrible situation. It's called state capture.
Yes.
But it's not hopeless. As a matter of fact, we're winning. We're taking our republic back. And the way that we are doing this is, it's just beautiful. It's more beautiful than you can ever imagine. There are people who have devoted their entire lives to going around from state to state and alerting people to this problem. And we have in our Constitution Article 5, which says that when state legislatures ask for a constitutional convention, the Congress is required to call a constitutional convention. So by 1929, Wisconsin was the 35th state to request a constitutional convention and wrote a scathing letter when the constitutional convention was not called. By now, we now have 49 of 50 state legislatures that have called for a constitutional convention. This convention should happen yesterday, and we can take back our republic. Wow. It's all there for us. We don't have to do anything other than demand our rights.
Now, what about this mega conglomerate? Are they going to just allow this to happen? Do they have their cards on the table to try to make sure that they continue to operate business as usual?
Well, remember when I was talking about Toto pulling the curtain back?
Right.
People are now looking at them and seeing what they're doing. So I'll tell you what happened last week. Two things. One is that all of the Congress was told to get on 4 airplanes, military aircraft, and fly to Florida for the funeral of one of the members of Congress. And I've been working together with a group of people that call themselves Able Danger. That's named after an agent that was working to try to prevent false flags. And anyway, so we warned Congress that if they got on those aircraft, one of two things could happen. It could be diverted to a prison. It could be diverted to Guantanamo Bay, or it could crash those military aircraft. And we advised them not to go. And as a result, only 30 Congress people did go. So, we're working the problem. And I
Karen,
can tell you
why
another.
doesn't any intelligence agency get neck deep into this thing, like the CIA?
They are part of the problem.
Now, when you say they're part of the problem, expound on that a little bit.
When the CIA was set up, it was set up with a special job to guard the world's gold. There's a lot more gold than people know about 3 or 4 times what people are officially told.
Right.
And a lot of this gold is on deposit all over the world. There's 170,000 tons in the Bank of Hawaii. That's more than people say is in existence on Earth already. Yeah?
Right.
And the CIA was set up to guard that gold.
Wow.
It wasn't even supposed to be for the United States alone. It was supposed to be for that special purpose. But they lost their way, the CIA.
Well, at least why doesn't the CIA at least spank the Jesuits on their hands? What's the situation with that?
Because the Jesuits are in charge of the CIA.
Wow, that's a big revelation there. Wow, you've said so much. I'm going to continue on this line because you made mention of Lincoln and him actually moving in the right direction for our country, issuing greenbacks, and because of that, he ended up in a casket. Then you have JFK, and he was trying to move our nation back in the right direction as well. Interesting enough, first Catholic president, and he ended up body bagged. So, what about all of their successors, if I can say it that way? Is it that the presidents thereafter fell in line? Is Obama falling in line? Let's just get right to the punch. Is Obama falling in line with the whole agenda, or is he pushing at it anyway? What's your take on that?
Unfortunately, he's not in a position. His wife is being blackmailed.
How so?
Because she has fallen for some what they call honey traps.
Wow.
In a hotel with 2-way mirrors, she has been compromised.
I know what a honey trap is. Wow. That's...
And there are other things involving him. His mother was a CIA agent, and he was raised in a way that made him a person who would trap people with honey traps. That was his mother's job in the CIA, to entrap people in hotels.
Wow. That was a huge bomb.
I have one that's even worse.
I'm listening.
Okay. A couple of weeks ago, I believe it was the 8th of October, there was supposed to be a nuclear bomb detonated on South Carolina. And 2 Army generals made sure that bomb went off the coast, 600 miles off the coast, and detonated undersea. And those military officers were fired. And now, at this point, there are about 180 generals and brass that are being fired. These are the people that are protecting the citizens of the United States. And that's why they're being removed.
This is more than astounding. So Obama, he's not really pushing against the situation because, like you just said, Michelle Obama is being blackmailed as a result of falling into one of the honey traps, and we know what those are. So evidently he is familiar with what's going on. So would you then, in essence, be saying that Obama is playing into the hands of the Jesuits at this time?
Yes.
Wow. So when Obama comes forward, because I just watched this recent interview that he did with one of the major news networks, and he had so many wonderful things to say about Pope Francis, which we know is a Jesuit. Do you think his rhetoric in this direction has anything to do with this blackmail situation and him just really being a good boy?
I can tell you that Pope Francis doesn't go into his papal apartments because Pope Benedict Ratzinger was removed because of child trafficking and financial crimes. He was removed from the papacy. So this is a very precarious situation
And this was
for the Vatican right now.
So this was a strategic move, the changing of the popes. This was a strategic move for the Vatican at this point.
They had no choice.
Right. Amazing, amazing. Once again, I'm just amazed at all that you have had to share with us right now. And it's evident that the information that you've been sharing with us right now is not something that media would want being divulged to the American public. I would think that if most people knew this was going on, there would be a huge outrage.
Yes. Why should all of their tax dollars go to the Vatican? Of course.
Wow. I don't know if you know this. I'm a Christian, okay? And what I find so profound about that statement is that, I don't know if you know this, but in the book of Revelation chapter 18, it makes mention of the Vatican under a prophetic symbol of a harlot, because a woman in the Bible is a symbol of the church, and a harlot is a corrupt church, if you will. It makes note of the Vatican there as an entity which all the merchants of the world give their goods to her. And what you're saying to us, whether you know it or not, is actually a very secular revelation of something that is theologically spoken of in the Bible. And I mean, it might be a shocker to you, but it's true.
No, I'm sure we're working on all kinds of levels.
Aaron, pretty amazing. So we can't trust corporate media. Corporate media is controlled. Is that what you're saying? End the story?
Absolutely, because if corporate media was doing its job, do you think it would have taken this many years for you to hear about what's going on? When I've been busy with other whistleblowers since 2007 on this?
If corporate media
You
was
should have
doing
known
its
about
job,
this so that the leadership continued.
if corporate media was doing its job, everybody in the United States of America and across the world would already know your name.
That's right. And everybody else's name, too.
That's right. And wow, we just need to really be informed at this point, huh? I really appreciate your time. This has been pretty awesome. Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Excellent. I've got a book I'd love to send you. It's called The Great Controversy. I think it'll give you some awesome insight as you continue on this path to keep on keep the fire burning out there, as we say. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, everybody, as always, this is the Forerunner, and whether you like it or not, the truth is the truth.